Hello everybody and welcome on the Papier de Rêve channel. I'm Ursula and today I will be talking about paper. This video is a part of my mini-series about comparison. I've compared brushes, natural brushes versus synthetic brushes. I've also compared two palettes of color different. And today I'm comparing two different paper. On the left side you have some cellulose paper, so pulp, wood pulp paper, and on the right side you have cotton paper. And let's see what I'm capable of doing with both of them. If you follow me for a little while, you know that I'm always painting on cotton paper. I have some cellulose paper in my stash, but I'm not using them so much. Sometimes to try a color or just to put color on paper and not worried about making something nice. I use it for that. But each time I want to make a big painting, I'm using cotton paper. For both of them, I've started the same way by putting some blue sky on the top and adding some colors to build a sort of landscape with wildflowers. So I'm adding yellow and then some green to build that landscape. And then I've tried to use salt to create texture, but I'm using also a plastic wrap on top of my wet painting. So the salt didn't have any effect on my paper, but that's okay. It will be for another time. And with this first layer done on my paper, I can already tell some difference between them two. On the cotton paper, my colors are moving on the paper very nicely, and I don't have to make them work too much, make them move too much, because they are moving on their own. But on the contrary, on the pulp paper, the colors stay where I put them at first, so I have some difficulties to blend them and have a nice gradient between them. And this is due in part because the pigment on pulp paper stay on top of the paper, and on cotton paper pigments are going a little bit further in the paper. And this is why also that the plastic wrap has an effect different on pulp paper than on cotton paper. You can see here that there is a lot of whiter, lighter area in the plastic wrap texture on the pulp paper than on the cotton paper. In the cotton paper side seems to be a little bit smoother in the texture. And there is some weird dots of white on the pulp paper. There is also another big difference I can see right away in these two pieces of paper. It's that my brush marks are still visible in the pulp paper and not so much in the cotton paper. You can see it in the blue area on the left, top left corner of my paper. On the pulp paper it's really streaky in a way, and you can see some of my brush marks still there. And on the cotton paper you can see nothing, everything is blended and the gradient is just smooth. And even if I rush to make the blue area smooth with the pulp paper, you can still see the mark, and it's because pulp paper is drying way faster than cotton paper. If the area is just a little bit wet, it will dry in a second. but if you have a lot of water on the paper, it will take forever to dry. It's a little bit weird, but you have to know it and play with it if you can. And this drying time is very, very important when you paint with watercolor, because if you don't manage your drying time just right, you will have some blooms appearing on the paper. And blooms are very, very easy to make with pulp paper, sadly, because of this drying time too quick, and it's way much harder to make blooms with cotton paper. And even sometimes I want to have blooms on my paper with cotton paper and I can't manage to have them. And today I managed to have one, but in the pulp paper. You can see it in the blue sky. There is a little bit of blooms, weird pigment thing in the blue part of the sky. So to wrap this point, you have to work very quickly with pulp paper in order to get smooth gradients and to make everything feel unified. And you have a little bit more time with cotton paper because it dries a little bit slower, and you can make the time to work your painting as you like it too. So my second layer is almost done. I will add a little bit more, I think, on my pulp paper, and I will be done. But while it's drying, I will explain what I'm using for supplies today. So for the brushes, I'm using an Escoda Aquario number 18. And for the color, I'm using Cobalt blue, Ultramarine blue, Winsor red, Nickel yellow, and a little bit of Aussie red gold. And my paper is on the left side, pulp paper from an unknown brand that I can find here in Sweden. And on the right side, I'm using a Saunders Waterford paper in 119 GSM with a rough texture. At this stage in my painting, I can see also another difference, and it's also a big one. I don't feel the need to add any more paint on the pulp paper because I feel it's finished and I don't see what I can add more. But I do not have this feeling on the cotton paper. As I said before, the color on the pulp paper stay on top of the paper. So the colors are more vibrant, they are stronger, and the contrast is also stronger. But on the cotton paper, pigment sink a little bit more in the paper, and I feel I can have a little bit more contrast with another layer on top of the two of the beginning. It could be a paper difference, but it also could be my way of dipping my brush in the paint. Maybe I have more pigment on the pulp paper than on the cotton paper. It can be also that, but who knows? To wrap up this comparison, I would say that it's better to try by yourself these two types of paper, because one type could be more suitable for your style and another not. So you have to experiment by yourself. I like the cotton paper because it suits my style very well, and I feel very free with this paper, and I can do a lot of things with it. And I'm not feeling the same with pulp paper. I think I just constantly fight with my paper, and I do not want that in my painting. But maybe it will be easier for your style to work with pulp paper, and it's okay. And today I prefer my version on pulp paper. I think it's more interesting. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching. I hope you like it. Please check the blog post for more information about it and tell me what you think in the comments. See you soon.